What's good, peoples? Back for another edition of My Friends Are Better Than Yours. Today is a different version because the guy on the screen is not really my friend, but I have known him for about 2 months now, so he's working his way up. But let me stop. For those tuning in for the first time, my name is Big Sad, industry code sign. I've been doing this for too many years, but I recently started my series, My Friends Are Better Than Yours, because I'm sick of speaking to celebrities and people that don't really care about me. So I decided that I'm going to turn it and make sure that it's about people that I respect for what they've done, what they're doing, and things of that nature. And even though Bobbito Garcia is not really, who he seems to be, I decided that since nobody else wants to talk to me today, I would talk to him. But anyway, it's a great start as it is. But I want to introduce Bobbito Garcia. For those that don't know, grow up because this man is a legend. I'll let him give a little brief intro because if he does an intro, we might be here for about an hour because he's done so much over the years. But we will get into some of the things he's doing now, so that way, as y'all say, we can give him his flowers because that's what the purpose of this is to acknowledge, the great people that I've met in the years, and some that I just happened to come across, like Barbido. But anyway, Barbido, welcome to My Friends Are Better Than Yours.
Hilarious name for a podcast, being only you would come up with that. What's up, Big Sad, man? I've known you for a long time. We play ball together. We've done industry stuff together. Currently, I'm an author of the memoir Bobbito's book of B-Ball Bang Bang. I'm also a tournament director, founder, global creative director of the only 1v5 tournament that exists in the world or in sports history for that matter. It's called FC21. I do it in 30 international locations worldwide. And, people may know me as a DJ from clubs and events. They might know me as a radio show host with Stretch in the 90s. And then more recently on Apple Music Hits. People might know me for, sneaker culture. I have a lot of firsts in that space. But I'm also a filmmaker. I directed 3 documentaries, Doing It in the Park, Pick Up Basketball NYC, Stretch and Bobbito Radio That Changed Lives, and Rock Rubber 45s, which was my last joint in 2018. And, ultimately, though, I'm a ball player. And that's what drove me to write a memoir about that world. Because, I already wrote a book titled Where'd You Get Those? New York City Sneaker Culture, 1960-1987, about that world and my place in it. And I'm music, I'm New York, Joshua Boricua, but tried and true to the foundation. I'm a ball player first and foremost. So, I feel like the memoir really speaks volumes about my experiences, my passion, and how that sport has uplifted me for decades in a way that I can't describe any better than what I wrote in the 216 pages. It's available in bookshops worldwide. If you want to go to the mom and pops, it's at Word Up in New York and Washington Heights. It's at Taylor and Company in Brooklyn, E14 in Oakland, Moose Music in Atlanta, De La Playa in Los Angeles. I can go on and on. Always got to, how we rock, support the indie businesses. When we were both in the music industry, I mean, you still are. I left. But, my whole role there was to try to raise up the names of the up-and-coming cats, Nas, Biggie, Wu-Tang, Big L, with Stretch on a radio show. And that's what I'm trying to do here as an author, and advertising, all that. Just trying to get the people on an even plane, so that we're not all focused on the big box and corporate world.
Definitely.
Because that's not who we are.
No doubt. Now, I know I have limited time with you. And like I said, we can literally be on here for like 7 hours and still not get to anything that you've done. So what I want to do is, since you have a new book out now, I want to focus on that because I know you've done so many things. And I want to know, like, what was the reason for you doing this book? How long did it take you? Like, why should we go pick it up?
Well, those are three separate questions, and let me try to approach each of them. Why should people pick it up? It's the very first book of its kind. There's never been a Latino voice raised on hip hop who's simultaneously embedded in New York City playground basketball culture. So what you get with the book is like an insider's view with a lens that's unprecedented, but also in a language that if you don't care about basketball, you could feel and understand what the essence is. But if you are a ball player, or if you're, somebody who loves to watch, this book is like, I use hip hop slang, I use b-ball slang, I break into Spanglish at times, and so it's really written in a manner that I don't know any book even close to it. Bones Malone's, who's a dear friend of mine and contemporary, in terms of like, pushing forward hip hop slang into the literary space. I feel like he's like the progenitor. I've come a little bit after him, not that far after him. Then after me and Bones is Scoop Jackson, who was a legendary columnist and contributed to Slam magazine. I feel like the three of us are particular in our way in that, we were able to fuse like the proper English with like the hood words that heads would only know if you're from that community. So that's one reason why you should pick up the book. But it took me 7 months, 7 months to write it, about 7 months to design it. It was conceived of in 2023. So it was a quick turnaround, in terms of having it out, hitting bookstores worldwide last week. So, that was a tremendous journey right there, just being super focused and trying to make sure that, everything was correct. I did a lot of research, fact checking, which is like a lost art form. But, if I mentioned that Bruce King was the leading scorer in the country in the 1970s, and he was playing ball at the GOAT, like I fact checked that. I went to the school's sports information department. Yes, he indeed led the nation in scoring. All right, cool. I can say that because I remember hearing that in my childhood. But back then, like it wasn't like I had the access to, to the records as I do now. So, I make a lot of claims in my book. I detail a lot of history. The other reason why people should pick it up is because it's not just my memoir. It's like the history of New York City playground basketball from 1960s to the present, which again is unprecedented. There's been phenomenal books that have really, unveiled what's going on. But I feel like the way I did it was a little bit different and a little broader, but then also a little more dissected. So it's a dope project, man. I'm very proud of it. So very happy to be here talking to you about it too, because the last time I saw you was in Harlem, and there's a whole chapter about strictly that neighborhood, period, and its contribution to the sport globally, even what happened on the asphalt there and how it affected the pros. So yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a lot to try to fit into 216 pages, but I think I did it.
Actually, I don't know if you remember where we met exactly, and if I'm correct, it was up at Riverbank, a Nike event, sometime in like 1944. I don't know, but
nah. In 94, 95, Nike had the City Attack campaign, which I had a heavy role in. I was the voice of it. I was doing radio ads.
Yeah.
We did a 1-800 number. I was the voice when you called up the phone number, 1-800 Yoke or whatever it was, NYC Yoke, you would hear my voice. Me and Duke Tango were part of that, the legendary announcer from EBC at Rucker Park. I was on camera, I was hosting events. I was location scouting for them. I was casting, ball players for their print campaign. I was doing everything for Nike and Wyden and Kennedy. So that was in 94, 95. Anyway, so we had the 3-on-3, and that was the first time that Nike had ever produced a tournament. They had sponsored tournaments, but they never produced their own tournament. And the 3-on-3 was the first of its kind. And what they were trying to do was trying to marry, like, for people to think of New York, think of basketball, and think of Nike. Like that was like the holy trinity in their eyes. So I played a major role in that. I was on a mic at Riverbank for the 3-on-3, if that's what you're talking about, because I also played in the Riverbank tournament, Brothers United, over the years. But I think we probably met at the Nike event though.
Yeah, because I remember because I was definitely cool with Jerry Erasmus at the time, and
yeah,
I was doing celebrity basketball events. So I think I brought a couple of people. I can't remember the exact details because, of course, it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we talking 30 years ago, bro. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, exactly. Fat Joe showed up that day. Rosie Perez, who's a dear friend of mine, showed up that day. Yeah. I don't remember who. Oh, Curious George was there.
That's Curious George.
I mean, George and Rosie, those are dear friends of mine. So I more than likely brought them. You probably brought Fat Joe. I don't know.
It's like Sadat X. Like I said, it was a couple of people because I was doing celebrity games at the time, and I know the Nike heads didn't have the access that they do now, or that they've accumulated over the years. But because I was doing celebrity basketball and because of my connection with Video Music Box, I was already doing celebrity basketball games, so it made sense.
Yeah.
So
Dot X had a nice game too. A lot of people don't know. He was a straight up ball player prior to being, internationally known as an MC. I mean, he was a star at Salesian High School in New Rochelle. He played D1 in Louisiana. Didn't work out, and then he transferred to Hunter College, I believe.
Yeah. That's where I met him, Hunter College.
Yeah, and he was playing D3 at Hunter College.
Yeah.
And then he went on to be a coach at Riverside Church.
Yeah.
He's spent his time at ball. He's official, left-handed.
and coincidentally, like we were supposed to talk last week, but then he ended up getting a show, so he's definitely on the bill for My Friends Are Better Than Yours. Let's get back to you. So, like, of course, growing up in New York, and because like you're like in the intersection of everything New York, sneaker culture, basketball, hip hop. Like, how are you able to? And I'm going to get into your league in a minute, but because we're talking about basketball in New York specifically, I want to know, like, I know it's easy to get into those things because it's right there, but how did you get so entrenched where you were able to thrive, like in each and every one of those, and a couple of other things? But like for somebody to be able to be entrenched so much for so many years is still a feat. So how are you able to like actually get into it, and not only get into it, but stay in it and thrive?
I mean, I think that's a tribute to my hard work, my ethic. But what I wrote about in my memoir, Bobbito's book of B-Ball Bong Bong, is truthfully, like, basketball is the starting point. That's my entry, and getting the fever to be a ball player, the best one I could possibly be. That's what ushered me into caring about sneakers. That's what taught me about hip hop. All my teammates, we were trading cassettes or, records or whatever, layup lines, that's where I was really getting entrenched. And I mean, I think I would have had hip hop and the sneaker stuff would have happened anyway, just as a New Yorker, but ball was like a little bit ahead of the game. If we look at all the classic silhouettes for hip hop, the Chuck Taylor, the Pro-Cat 69, or the Puma Clyde, the Adidas Shell Toe, the Nike Air Force One. I mean, those are all ball sneakers that were made cool by ball players first and foremost, and then they trickled down into the hip hop heads, right? And so, the baggy shorts, that's ball players. I mean, a lot of hip hop heads try to dress like ball players. I mean, that's what Nike coined sports lifestyle. It's like the whole world tries to dress like ball players. So we're a very influential community in more ways than one. And, but in terms of me excelling in each, that was just a I think just me just approaching it in a way that I did, just with hard work and, putting myself in the right place at the right time. It's not like I was just in the right place at the right time. I put myself there. I created my own good fortune. I was reliable. I was courteous. I was considerate. I was loving. I have a lot of qualities that it's not me saying this being a self-aggrandizing. Like, people tell me that, Jerry Erasmus, you mentioned for Nike, he told me one time, he's like, yo, Bob, like, you force our hand. Like, literally, he was like the head marketing person at Nike for basketball. And he was like, we can't avoid you. You're a hip hop legend with your radio show. You wrote the first article in media history on sneaker culture. You wrote the first book. You hosted the first TV series on sneaker culture, period. Like, first. You got the first sneaker boutique that was highly curated, me. So I got like every first basically in sneaker culture. And Nike wants to be down with the sneakerheads. They want to be down with the basketball players, and they love hip hop. So it's like, I'm like a natural. I was, they haven't messed with me in a long time, but it's like for the time that Jerry was there, like he really connected with me, and we knew each other from our childhood. I mentioned Jerry. I met Jerry in 1980, 81. I wrote about that in my book too. Yeah.
Wow. Well, you just said a word that I had on my list of questions to ask you, because despite what I think, people consider you a legend. And, that's a big title to lay on anybody. And I know that it's used like it's used so much these days.
Oh, it's out of control. It's become meaningless when people say
exactly.
it. Like, it's just like, oh, he's a legend. She's a legend. It's like, yo, like, okay, can we hold off on saying that?
Exactly. But you're actually a legend, because like you said, even if you take away basketball and you take away sneakers, you're still Bobbito from the Barbido and Stretch show. Yep. At a time where hip hop was literally bubbling up and exploding.
No doubt.
And you were part of that.
Yep.
You didn't contribute. You were part of that. So how does it feel knowing that, and luckily for me, I know people like you, Ralph McDaniels, like people that's just been in the game that have done their things that the outside world looks at in amazement. And not to say that I don't look at y'all in amazement, but knowing you is different than admiring you.
No doubt.
I hope I said that correctly.
Yeah, no, I get it. You're like I'm your homeboy. We play ball together. We bug out. We've broken bread over the years. I haven't seen you in person in a long time, but that's has nothing to do with you. I don't even live in the city no more. So, but in 1998, the Source magazine voted me and Stretch as having the best hip hop radio show of all time. In 2023. The National Association of Broadcasters voted me and Stretch into their Radio Hall of Fame. Now, with or without that, every dude who was locked up in Passaic County Jail, Patterson County Jail, Rikers, the Tombs, all those dudes was writing us letters. And, for years after, I was getting like approached by people. Yo, when I was locked down, you and Stretch, you held me down. I look forward to Thursdays. So right there, like just with that insular community, we were able to inspire them, give them hope, look forward to coming out. So that's the starting point. So forget like the big accolades. Let's talk about like the keep it low. And then when it comes to like Nas, Biggie, Wu-Tang, Big L, Company Flow, Fugees, Jay-Z, Mobb Deep, Eminem. These are all people who were like unknown.
Yeah.
Or they were up and coming, in most cases completely unsigned. Teenagers with like no contract, no agreement, just trying to get on. And we putting them on the radio, letting them smash, and getting like accolades and building that initial audience. And so for that, I guess, people look at me and Stretch as hip hop legends. And I accept that. I'm humbled by it, but also like, I feel like, we earned that. because it wasn't easy. We won from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. on a weekly basis on Thursdays. That was not an easy time slot. And guess what? We didn't get paid to do that either. I did the radio for 12 years on a volunteer basis in an attempt to try to uplift hip hop artists so that they can get exposed. And so, it comes back. Like when I get those accolades, I'm like, yeah, like I might have earned that, So if people want to call me a hip hop legend, I say, yeah, cool. When it comes to sneakers, as I've already mentioned, I have a lot of firsts. So it's undebatable that, people call me an icon in the sneaker space. And it's funny because I only own 5 pairs of sneakers. I'm not a collector. I've been a historian. I've been able to push the push forward the culture and expose it, and nurture it. But that's not where I'm at now as I approach my 60s. Look, for those who are in their 60s are still, online and waiting for sneakers and all that other stuff. Cool. Props to you. That's just not where my head is at. Yeah. But in that world, like kind of like carved out a little legendary space there too. Basketball.
I even have more than 5 pairs of sneakers.
Basketball, I wouldn't call myself a legend, but I feel like I've been able to contribute to the sport in a way that's been really honest and authentic and loving for decades. I did the first documentary on pickup basketball in New York City. It hadn't been done before, hasn't been done since. Doesn't need to be done again. It's like I nailed it. That was my film, Doing It in the Park, Pickup Basketball NYC. I contributed. I did the world's first publication specifically based on outdoor basketball. It was called Bounce. I did that for 6 years. And now I got my tournament, FC21, 1v5, 30 international locations. All the winners from around the world come to New York to the GOAT, aka Rocksteady Park on 99th in Amsterdam every August, to determine who's the best 1-on-5 player. And I've been doing that for like 13 years now, and that continues to grow. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that I can give back. I'm grateful that I can inspire. I'm grateful that I can motivate. If you follow me on social media, like I'm constantly, like just yesterday, I was like dribbling downhill and then dribbling uphill. It's like a half a mile hill, like crazy steep. And I'm out there sweating, and I'm approaching my 60s, but I still want to be the best ball player I can be. So that motivates a lot of people out there. Like, dad, like, yo, Bob is out there, it's 100 degrees out. Like, yo, let me stay in shape and let me try to, work on my game too, whether they 17 years old or 57. So, I feel like I contribute how I can to basketball as well. That's what really makes me tick,
Let's rewind a bit because you mentioned the full court 21.
Yep.
And there are some people here who may not understand the concept. So could you explain the concept? And the concept that you do have is something that's not being done. And could you explain like why you had that concept and
no doubt
why it works now?
No doubt. So in 21, whoever has the ball, everybody else on the court is on defense, guarding them. There's no teammates, there's no teams, there's no coaches. Very inclusive. You roll it to the park, there's a 5-on-5. Be like, yo, who got next? You got to wait till the game is over. You roll up to the 21. Yo, who got the high? All right, jumping in. And so there's no other game like that. There's no other game like that involves so much competition and strategy and so I got a shout out my brother Manny Maldonado, who runs the Chosen NYC tournament for youth. He invited me to a run that he had in Harlem at the Boys Club. And he was like, yo, before we play 5-on-5, we're going to warm up with a game of 21. I got amped because I love playing 21. Ain't got to pass to nobody. He was like, yo, we're going to run it full court. I was like, wait, what? Because in my whole life, we always play 21 half court.
Yeah.
And depending on the neighborhood, you might be like, yo, no outs. Or if you was in Philly, there's no fouls. They call it rough house, Yeah. So, every neighborhood got their own set of rules, and that's what pickup is no set rules, right? So we playing 21 full court back. Every time the ball changed possession, we went the opposite direction. I was like, yo, this is wild, Joe. And then the light bulb went in my head, like, everybody doing 5-on-5, tournaments, 3-on-3, 1-on-1. So I was like, yo, let me do a 21 tournament. Ain't never been done, period, in the history of the sport. So, and that's what I like doing. I like doing stuff that no one else has done before. So I started in 2013, and currently, outside of the international locations in New York, we do Queens, we do the Bronx, we do Brooklyn. We did Staten Island before. We do this summer. We come bringing it to Kingdom. We're doing a partnership with Kingdom. Yeah, bring it to Harlem, and then it always final. The final is always at the GOAT, aka Rocksteady Park. So and that's the park that nurtured me. That's where I grew up. So that's me paying homage to Earl Manigault, the legend that the park is named after. And yeah, man, I'm very proud. Go to fullcourt21nyc.com for more information, or if you want to play, register. You go to FC21 All World on social media. My personal handle is Cool Bob Love, KoolBoblove, and that's across the board. Blue Sky, Threads, Twitch, Threads, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Patreon. It's like there's so many. Oh my God. But yeah, I'm Cool Bob Love. Anywhere you go, coolboblove.com. If you want to buy my new book, Bobbito's book of B-Ball Bong Bong, a memoir of sports, style, and soul, go to coolboblove.com. And then from there, you can either buy it online or you can see the mom and pop stores that are all BIPOC owned, Black, Indigenous, people of color owned. And you can go support those shops if you want as well. Because that's how we do, Big Said.
Definitely. I just want to, is there anything else that you would like to talk or mention? Because like I said, I know you have limited time and I don't want to take up too much of it. Because like I said, we could be on here for days and still be able to really like go back, so many years.
Nah, I'm good, B. I mean, I have a lot of other projects in the works. There's a video game that I'm going to be announcing, but I can't talk about that yet because it's not, they haven't launched the campaign yet. But, some of your viewers might remember me from NBA Street Volume 2 for EA Sports. I was the voice of that. That sold millions and millions of copies. That's a legendary video game. If people want to call me a legendary video game announcer, cool. I mean, it's top 5 on like everybody's list for best ball games, maybe even sports video games, period. So, again, I've just been blessed, B. But I might start an apparel line in 2026 as well, with a lot of ideas that I have for for clothing and stuff, cut and sew. But yeah, right now the focus is the memoir and the tournament, and I'm grateful for people like you that you reached out. Shout out to my brother Elijah Wells. Not even knowing that we already known each other. He's like, oh, y'all could connect you to set. I'm like, come on, B. Like, I need you to connect to set. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, B. Like, I mean, that's my man. So,
exactly.
Me and Elijah used to be teammates. I don't know if you know that.
Well, we went to high school together. And he was a star point guard on our basketball team. So I know him through basketball as well. I didn't play on the team, but he was on the team.
We played at Tillery Park. And I actually mentioned him in my book. And I have a funny story in my memoir, Bobbito's book of B-Ball Bong Bong, about the time that me and Elijah was at Tillery Park playing ball against Obadiah Toppin. Senior, not the young brother that's in the NBA. His father was nice.
That makes sense because I was about to say like that.
His father was nice, and we played against him in Tillery Park. He crushed us. He destroyed us. Yeah. Not that me and Elijah were the best defenders, but
Yeah, he passed it along to his son though. So
yeah, no doubt. His son, I'm proud of his son. Doing well. His son got a chip now, right? Then the Pacers won. No, the Pacers lost.
Oh no, the Pacers lost. The
Pacers lost, but at least his son went to the chip.
He was he was that close. So
he was close. He could have stayed with the Knicks and made the Eastern Conference Finals. Obadiah Toppin, I wish him the best. I remember him said coming to games at Hoops in the Sun, Tillery Park. He used to go to all his father's games. His son was at every game, bro, with Obadiah's wife. He'd be on the sideline watching us. He don't remember me, I doubt it, but you know.
Who could forget Bobbito?
Nah. I mean, in the tournaments that we was playing in, like, I was just a bench a role player coming off the bench, you know.
Yeah. I do want to go back a little bit when you said about the street basketball culture. I'm like, you're still a legend as far as hip hop and New York heads consider, even when it comes to basketball. I just want to throw that in there. But like I said, I appreciate your time, and I know that you're so busy, and you have like another 17 million to make in the next month. So I don't keep you from that. But I do appreciate your time and your friendship over the years, because as I stated, ever since we connected back in the 90s, like, you've always been solid, and I've always like admired what you've always done. And like I said, that's the reason why I created this platform. So that way I can not only say things about you, but give people the opportunity to see you themselves. So that way they can understand why I respect the people that do come on this program. So no doubt. I do appreciate that.
No doubt, my brother. But yo,
tell people where to pick up your book and social media again.
Yeah, it's Cool Bob Love, KoolBoblove. That's the handle. That's the website as well, coolboblove.com. Just go to coolboblove.com to find out everywhere you can purchase it, online or at mom and pop brick and mortar shops. Big Set, salute to you. Keep on rocking.
And we got to do a part 2, because like I said, this so much stuff that you've done that I want to talk about. And like I said, we could do this at a later time, whether it's a couple of months, even if it's a couple of years. We got to do this again, because like I said, for the people that I acknowledge for doing things, like I want to give you more flowers than I'm able to give now, because you've done so much and you've touched so many people. And I'm pretty sure people will and can acknowledge that. So I just want to throw that out there again, and we'll talk in the future. And like I said, maybe the next book or the next movie premiere or the next cartoon or whatever it is you're gonna get into, we'll get out.
No. I got you. Listen, when the video game comes out, I'll come back. No doubt. Just keep that on your radar. I can't mention anything about it. It's too early. Contractually, it's too early for me to say, but it's gonna be a big deal. I'm gonna be the voice of a big video game.
I'm sure,
but I can't say nothing yet.
No, that's okay. But everybody, this is Big Set, Industry Cosign. Thanks for tuning in. My friends are better than yours. And as I always say, if you think your friends are better than mine, show me. And I'm pretty sure that we either friends or they're trying to be my friend. Until the next time, thank you, Barbido. And
peace
out.